My name is Claire, and I still remember that Saturday evening as vividly as if it happened yesterday, the day my sister married, the man our entire family adored, while I was treated like a stain they couldn't scrub off the celebration. The ballroom shimmered with gold chandeliers, laughter, and the sound of champagne glasses clinking, none of which belonged to me. I had been given a chair at the farthest corner of the hall, next to the server's exit, where the scent of leftover food mixed with the sting of humiliation. It wasn't always this way. When we were younger, my sister Emily and I were inseparable, but everything changed when she became the successful one. She was the doctor, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. I, on the other hand, was the one who never settled, the one who left a corporate job to start a small event planning company that barely broke even at first. My parents didn't see my courage, they saw failure, and at Emily's wedding, they made sure everyone else saw it too. When I arrived, my mother's first words weren't, "You look beautiful," but "Claire, don't cause a scene. Just blend in, okay?" My father barely nodded, his attention fixed on Emily in her glittering gown. I smiled politely, clutching the small gift I'd saved for months to buy, a delicate, crystal photo frame engraved with the date of her wedding. But no one cared. As dinner was announced, I noticed there was no place card with my name near the family table. I scanned every row, every seat, my heart thudding faster. Finally, one of the waiters whispered awkwardly, "Miss, I think the seat is yours." He pointed toward the back corner, right beside the exit door. My family, my own blood, had literally put me out of sight. People kept glancing at me like I didn't belong. I smiled through it all, pretending to text, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, something cracked. While Emily laughed with her new husband and my parents entertained the guests, I sat quietly, stirring the same glass of wine for nearly an hour. My eyes burned, but I refused to cry. I'd promised myself long ago that I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me break again. Then it happened. A voice leaned close from behind me, a low, confident murmur that made my heart skip. "Why, hey," the man whispered, "act like you're with me." I turned sharply, startled. He was tall, dressed in a dark tailored suit. His tie loosened slightly like he belonged and didn't care who knew it. His eyes were calm but sharp, like he'd already read the entire room before stepping in. "What?" I asked, half confused, half defensive. He smiled faintly. "Just go with it," he said. "No, your family's looking this way. Trust me." I followed his gaze, and yes, my mother had turned around, whispering something to a group of relatives, all of them watching me with thinly veiled judgment. The stranger stepped closer, gently placing his hand over mine on the table, as if we'd known each other for years. The effect was immediate. My mother's eyes widened. My father looked surprised. Emily froze mid-laugh. "I'm sorry," I whispered to him, "but who are you?" "Someone who hates bullies," he replied casually, not taking his eyes off the table where my family sat. "And I can tell they've been bullying you for a long time." His words hit deeper than I expected. I wanted to protest, to deny it, but he was right. My family had spent years belittling me, disguising it as tough love. I'd endured it quietly, hoping someday they'd see my worth. But maybe that day was never going to come. "Why are you doing this?" I asked softly. He looked at me, his expression unreadable. Let's just say, I've got my reasons, and tonight you'll thank me." Before I could ask more, the bouquet toss began. Emily stood in the center, surrounded by her bridesmaids ready to throw. I sat still, thinking no one would even notice if I didn't join. But as the bouquet soared through the air straight toward me, my reflexes froze. It was about to smack me in the face when the stranger reached up, effortlessly, and caught it inches away. The entire hall gasped. Emily's laughter faltered. My mother's smile disappeared. He handed the bouquet to me with a charming half-smile. "Guess it's your turn next, huh?" The guests started whispering, a few clapping playfully. I felt my cheeks flush, but for the first time that night, it wasn't from embarrassment, it was from power. My family looked like they'd swallowed lemons. When the music started again, the stranger leaned closer. "Let them wonder," he said quietly. "You deserve a little mystery." And just like that, he walked away toward the bar, leaving me stunned, holding the bouquet that was supposed to humiliate me but instead made me the center of attention. I didn't know his name, but I knew one thing. Whoever he was, that moment had just shifted something in my life, and deep down I felt it. This wasn't over. After that night, I couldn't stop thinking about him. The mysterious stranger who turned my humiliation into a statement. His voice, his confidence, the way he caught that bouquet like it was nothing, everything about him lingered in my mind. But the strangest part, He disappeared right after. No goodbye, no name, not even a glance when he left. Just gone. For the next few days, my family couldn't stop talking about him. My mother, pretending to be casual, said over breakfast, "So Claire, who was that man? You didn't tell us you had someone." Her tone was sugar-coated, but the sharpness beneath it wasn't hard to miss. I smiled, stirring my coffee slowly. "Oh, just a friend," I lied. "Friend?" Emily teased, her perfect smile hiding a hint of irritation. "He didn't look like just a friend when he held your hand." I shrugged. Maybe he's just better at pretending than most. The conversation ended there, but I could see the discomfort in their faces. Why, for once I wasn't the one being pitied or ignored. I had become a mystery, and that scared them. Later that week, I went back to my small apartment, trying to push the wedding out of my mind. I had events to plan, clients to please, and bills to pay. But that man's voice, "Act like you're with me," kept echoing in my head. Then one evening, as I was locking up after a client meeting, I saw him again. He was leaning casually against a black car parked near the curb, arms folded, a faint smirk playing on his lips. The dim streetlight made his features sharper, gray eyes, dark hair, a confidence that felt too deliberate. "Hey, stranger," I said cautiously. "You have a habit of showing up at dramatic moments, don't you?" He chuckled softly. "You make dramatic moments happen, Claire." I just follow the trail. My stomach twisted slightly. "You know my name?" "Of course," he said. "You were kind of hard to miss at that wedding, especially sitting alone." I crossed my arms, unsure whether to be flattered or concerned. "So who are you really?" He hesitated for a moment before replying. "Name's Ethan Cole, and let's just say we have something in common." "Common?" I frowned. He nodded slowly. "We both have people who underestimated us. People who treated us like we didn't belong." Something about his tone was too precise, like he wasn't just talking about me. "You were invited to that wedding?" I asked. "Sort of," he said vaguely. "My company handled some of the venue logistics. I noticed you because you looked like you wanted to disappear." That stung a little, mostly because it was true. "So you decided to play hero?" I said sharply. He smiled faintly. "No. I decided to make sure a good person didn't let a bad family crush her spirit." His words disarmed me. There was no arrogance in them, just quiet certainty. Still, there was something he wasn't saying, and I could feel it. "Why do I feel like there's more to this story, Ethan?" He looked at me carefully, like he was weighing whether to tell the truth. "Yeah, well, maybe there is. But for now, how about dinner?" "You can thank me properly for saving your face from that bouquet." Despite myself, I laughed. "That's your idea of a heroic act?" "It was flying at you like a missile," he said with a grin. "I deserve at least a meal." I didn't know why, but I said yes. Maybe because I wanted to understand him, or maybe because I was tired of feeling like the invisible one. We met that Friday at a small rooftop restaurant overlooking the city lights. The air was cool, the view endless. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Ethan listened, really listened, to everything I said. I told him about my event company, my struggles, the way my parents always made me feel like a disappointment. He didn't interrupt or try to fix it. He just said, "You deserve better." We talked for hours, and when it was time to leave, he said something that stuck in my mind. "Don't worry. They'll regret how they treated you. People always do." At the time, I thought it was just comforting talk. I didn't realize how literal his words were. Over the next few weeks, strange things began to happen. My sister's honeymoon photos leaked online, ones she never posted. My parents' social media pages were filled with anonymous comments about favoritism, lies, and money scandals. Even my father's business page got hacked, displaying a message, "Not everything that shines is gold." They assumed it was a random cyber attack. I stayed quiet, but deep down I wondered, could Ethan have something to do with this? When I met him again, I decided to ask. "Ethan," I said, crossing my arms, "did you have anything to do with what's been happening to my family lately?" He looked up from his drink, his face unreadable. "Why? Are you worried about them?" "No," I said honestly. "Just trying to understand you." He leaned back, his gaze fixed on mine. Let's just say karma needed a little push. I gave it one. I felt a mix of fear and fascination. "You think you're doing me a favor?" "I know I am," he said calmly. "But they broke something in you, Claire. I'm just helping you remember what it feels like to win."
"But this isn't winning," I whispered.
"It's revenge." He smiled faintly. "Sometimes they're the same thing." That night, as I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my heart was a storm. Part of me wanted to cut him off, to stop whatever madness he was stirring. But another part, a darker, quieter part, felt thrilled. For once, the balance was shifting. The next morning, I woke up to a message from Ethan. "You said they made you invisible. Let's make sure they never forget your name again." And attached to it was a file, an invitation draft for an upcoming charity gala. At the bottom, it read, "Event organized by Claire Dawson Events, sponsored by Cole Industries." Ethan wasn't just some random stranger. He was powerful, connected, and now he was aligning his name with mine. But deep inside, I couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't helping me out of kindness. There was something personal in his revenge, something tied to my family's past. And I was walking straight into it. The invitation went viral faster than I expected. Within a week, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Event vendors, designers, even local journalists wanted to know who I was. Suddenly, Claire Dawson Events wasn't just another small event agency. It was the name associated with Cole Industries. The night of the gala arrived like a storm wrapped in silk. The grand ballroom shimmered with chandeliers, the marble floor glowing under soft golden light. Every guest was dressed like they'd stepped out of a magazine, and yet, for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I wore a sleek black gown, hair swept to one side, and a quiet confidence that wasn't there before. People greeted me, smiled, congratulated me. I wasn't the forgotten daughter anymore. I was Claire Dawson, event director and host of the night. As the crowd grew, I noticed Ethan by the entrance. He looked devastatingly calm in his tailored suit, the kind of presence that made people part around him like waves. But when his eyes found mine, there was something darker there, something almost proud. "You look incredible," he said as he approached. "So do you," I replied, though my tone was sharper. "This is all bigger than I imagined, Ethan. Everyone's talking about it." "That's the point," he said smoothly. "Let them see who's really in control now." I frowned slightly. "You make it sound like a war." He smiled without warmth. "Sometimes success is the quietest kind of war." Before I could question him further, the room's attention shifted. My parents had arrived with Emily in tow. My father's face was a mix of pride and calculation. Emily, of course, looked perfect in her designer dress, though her smile faltered when she realized the scale of the event. I greeted them politely. "Glad you could make it." My mother hugged me with a tightness that felt rehearsed. "We wouldn't miss it, dear. This place is stunning." "It's Claire's work," Ethan said suddenly, stepping forward. His tone was smooth, but his gaze was sharp as glass. "She did all this." My father cleared his throat. "Ah, yes, of course. Very impressive, young man. And you must be the sponsor." Ethan nodded. "Cole Industries. Maybe you've heard of us." The way he said it wasn't casual. It was a reminder, and my father's eyes twitched just enough to show recognition. That moment confirmed something. They knew him, or at least they knew of him. The night unfolded in flashes, speeches, champagne, polite laughter, but I could feel tension rippling beneath the surface. Ethan kept close, guiding the flow of conversations, introducing me to powerful people, making sure everyone knew who I was. It felt amazing, intoxicating even, until I noticed something off. During dinner, Ethan excused himself to take a call. I followed him with my eyes and saw him step out onto the balcony, phone pressed to his ear, expression cold. Curiosity got the better of me. I slipped closer, careful not to make a sound. "Yes," I heard him say. "They're here."
Both of them.
"No, don't do anything yet. Tonight's about making sure they see." My heart pounded. Who was he talking to? And did he mean my parents? When he came back inside, his charming mask was back on. "Everything okay?" I asked, pretending not to know. "Perfect," he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Now enjoy your moment, Claire." "You've earned it." But I couldn't shake the feeling that my moment was part of something much bigger and much darker. Later that night, after the final toast, Ethan took the microphone. "Before we close," he began, "I want to thank the brilliant woman who made this entire night possible. Claire Dawson. She's not just an organizer, she's a visionary. A reminder that true worth can't be overlooked forever." The crowd applauded. My heart swelled, and yet a strange unease crept in. Then he added, "And for those who once underestimated her, consider this your invitation to finally see her for who she truly is." His gaze flicked directly to my parents. My stomach twisted. The applause continued, but my father's expression hardened. He looked like a man who had just recognized something, or someone. When the event ended, guests congratulated me endlessly, but I could barely focus. I finally found Ethan outside near the fountain. staring at the water's reflection.
What was that speech?
I demanded quietly. You made it sound like you were taking revenge for me. He didn't turn around.
Was I wrong?
You had no right, I snapped. This was supposed to be about my work, not your agenda. He finally looked at me. His eyes were colder now, his charm replaced by something steel-hard. Claire, your father cost my family everything 15 years ago. He betrayed a deal that destroyed my father's company. I didn't come into your life by accident.
The words hit me like a thunderclap. You used me?
No, he said softly. I gave you power. I gave you your moment. All I wanted was for him to see what his greed created. A daughter stronger than he ever deserved. My breath caught. You're insane. Maybe, he said quietly.
But tell me, Claire.
Didn't you enjoy watching them squirm? Didn't it feel good to finally be seen? I couldn't answer, because deep down it had felt good. He stepped closer, voice low and haunting. You can hate me if you want, but I kept my promise. They'll never look down on you again. And before I could speak, he walked away into the night, leaving me staring at the water, my reflection trembling under the surface, just like the truth. For 2 days after the gala, I couldn't think straight. Ethan's words kept replaying in my head. Your father cost my family everything. Every detail of that night felt tainted now, every compliment hollow. I had been so busy basking in my own long-awaited validation that I hadn't noticed. I was just another piece in someone else's revenge. The morning after, my phone buzzed nonstop. The gala had made headlines. Young entrepreneur, Claire Dawson stuns at elite charity event hosted by Cole Industries. My face was everywhere. Clients, investors, and strangers were praising me online. It should have been the happiest moment of my life, but the one Cole I dreaded finally came. And Claire, my father's voice was low, measured, and cold.
We need to talk.
I almost left. Now you want to talk? After years of pretending I didn't exist.
This isn't about that, he snapped.
It's about that man. Ethan Cole, he's dangerous. You need to stay away from him. I clenched my jaw. Funny, because he said you're the dangerous one. A pause, then quietly. You don't know what he's capable of. No, Dad, I said bitterly. I think I'm finally realizing what you're capable of. I hung up before he could respond, but a strange cold dread crept into me. If what Ethan said was true, then my father had destroyed his family's company years ago. But what if it wasn't the full story? That night, I opened my laptop and began searching. It didn't take long to find it. A headline from 15 years ago. Cole Enterprises collapses after failed merger with Dawson. Group CEO Jonathan Cole dies by suicide. My heart stopped. Jonathan Cole, Ethan's father. I scrolled further. My father's company had acquired Cole Enterprises assets just months later, and the article mentioned something else, a legal battle, one that vanished mysteriously before it ever went to court. I shut the laptop and sat frozen. Ethan hadn't lied. My father had taken everything from him, but still, using me to get his revenge? That was something I couldn't forgive. The next evening, I went to his office, the one he'd rented downtown. The place was sleek, minimal, and eerily quiet. He looked up from his desk when I entered, his expression unreadable. "Ah, Claire," he said softly. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," I snapped. "You had no right to involve me." He stood buttoning his suit jacket slowly. "I didn't involve you. I gave you a stage. You were already capable. I just made them watch. By humiliating my family, he stepped closer. By reminding them who they tried to bury. His calmness infuriated me. And what about you, Ethan? You act like some noble avenger, but you're no better. You used me as bait. You manipulated me." His voice hardened. "And you used me too, Claire. Don't pretend you didn't enjoy seeing them crumble. You wanted that power. I just handed it to you." I didn't answer, because part of me knew he was right, but I also knew I wasn't going to let either of them, not Ethan, not my family, define me anymore. "I'm done being someone's pawn," I said finally. "Not yours, not theirs." He watched me for a long moment, then smiled faintly. "Then prove it." I turned and walked out without another word. Over the next few weeks, I disappeared from everyone's radar. No parties, no interviews, no posts. My company ran quietly, efficiently. I poured everything into work, real work this time, not appearances. I built new partnerships, earned real contracts, and started my own charity program for young women starting businesses. And then, just when my name began to shine independently again, the scandal hit. Anonymous emails leaked screenshots of messages between Ethan and my father, old ones from before the gala. In them, my father tried to buy out Cole Industries' sponsorship to prevent Ethan from working with me. Ethan's response: "You can't buy what's already mine." The internet went wild. Reporters camped outside both their offices. My parents' reputation took another hit, and Ethan's company's shares dipped overnight. I said nothing. For once, I didn't need to. A week later, I got a text from Ethan in Toshis area. "Meet me where it all began, 8 p.m. Don't make me wait." Against my better judgment, I went. The place was the same ballroom where my sister's wedding had been held. Empty now, except for faint music echoing from an old speaker. Ethan stood near the center, looking at the chandeliers like he was staring at ghosts. "You leaked those messages," I said quietly. He turned slightly. "They were going to come out eventually. Might as well control the story." "You don't control stories, Ethan," I said. "You burn them down." He walked toward me slowly, the sharpness in his eyes replaced by something heavier. Regret, maybe. "You think I wanted this? I wanted closure. I wanted to watch your father fall, just once, but it didn't plan to care about you." My chest tightened. "You don't get to say that." "I mean it, Claire." His voice cracked for the first time. "You reminded me of the part of myself that wasn't built on revenge." For a moment, silence filled the hall, heavy and echoing. Then I said, "You can't undo what you did, but you can stop here." He nodded slowly. "Maybe, but you won't stop, will you?" I looked up at the chandelier, the same one that had glowed above me when I sat alone that night. "No," I said quietly, "because now I know what it feels like to have power, but I'll use it my way." I walked past him, heels clicking against marble. At the door, I stopped. "Goodbye, Ethan. We both got what we wanted." I got respect. "You got revenge. Maybe that's enough." He didn't answer. I didn't turn around. Almaisat. 6 months later, Dawson Group faced an official investigation for past fraud allegations. The same case that had been buried 15 years ago. Ethan had handed over the files anonymously, but everyone in the business world knew who'd really pulled the strings. And me, my company thrived. My name was everywhere, this time for the right reasons, but not once did I mention Ethan or my family in interviews. I learned silence could be louder than any speech. One afternoon, I got a letter in the mail, and no name, no return address. Inside, just one sentence written in neat handwriting. "Now they'll never forget who you are." No signature, but I knew who it was. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the paper. Then I smiled, not out of affection, but acceptance. Ethan had finished his war. Mine was just beginning.